I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Mr. Snowden, formerly of Booz Allen Hamilton, by his own testimony within these last hours in a hotel room in Hong Kong, now not answering his phone, his cell phone, can't be found at the hotel. We don't know who's looking for him. But in any event, it's the latest iteration of puzzles for the Obama administration. However, it's not the hottest one. Selena Zito of the Pittsburgh Tribune Review and Laura Brown, who blogs at U.S. News and World Report, join me because there are so many scandals, we need a scorecard. There are so many investigations, we can't keep up. There are not enough hands out here. Selena, good evening to you. I begin with a story that is extremely relevant to the credibility of the Obama administration, but is not immediate because we don't know who the perps are. This is the State Department and the allegations in CBS News some hours ago that the State Department has conducted a cover-up of its own officers, probably to do with the critical embassies overseas. What's happened? What are the allegations? Good evening, Selena.
Hey there, how are you? Well, yes, this is kind of a big deal, and you're right. It's sort of not getting the attention that it probably should, although I suspect as more is uncovered, this is going to rise up to be a pretty big deal. John Miller from CBS News reported today that he had documents for the Diplomatic Security Service, the DSS, which is a watchdog agency, that shows that the State Department committed a series of misconducts, not just in one place, not just two places, but systematically all over the place. In the memo that Miller had, he cited 8 specific examples, and including allegations that the State Department a security official in Beirut was involved in sexual assault. There's also charges of a prostitution ring and a drug ring, and these were part of then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's security detail. Now, because of sort of the scandals that happened with Bill Clinton, when you say prostitutes and you say Clinton, people go ha-ha and look the other way. But this is a really big deal. This is a cover-up. This is squashing an IG report, and I believe that this has the ability to have many long tentacles and to cause a lot of big problems for this administration and for Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
The investigation just beginning at State, or we believe that somebody passed John Miller's a great reporter, but somebody passed this out. Does this feel like more information is flowing out of State, similar to some of the revelations we've had over these last months of Benghazi, a State Department in disarray, people talking out of school? Is that what it feels like, Selena?
Yeah, this is sort of like a drip kind of situation and you have, it looks like there are several State Department people that are not only talking behind closed doors, but they are also leaking a lot of information. I don't think this is good news at all, and I think this has the potential to blow up and be as big a deal as the IRS scandal, as the DOJ scandal, as the Benghazi scandal, and the NSA scandal. It's a pretty big deal.
Laura, what we're watching here is, as I said quickly, a series of scandals and investigations, very difficult to keep track of. The IRS hasn't gone away. It's not even out on recess. They are going through millions of documents, and the investigators at Ways and Means, Senate Finance, and House Oversight are all conducting interviews all the time. Over the weekend, we saw Elijah Cummings, who's ranking on House Oversight, put out a partial statement or an incomplete statement saying that it's all over. Does the public want it to be all over, Laura? I'm going to turn the screw a little bit. Does the public want this all to go away, or is there a sense of discomfort here? Are we getting car sick riding along with the Obama administration?
Well, I think that metaphor of being car sick is a very good one. It's as though we're on a roller coaster ride, and there is this sort of your stomach's coming up to your throat, and you're really wondering if you want to stay on board and make it through, or bail out as soon as possible. And I think what you see is that the public is tired of this, and yet they're sort of waiting for for, the shoe to drop. I mean, they're really waiting for, is something serious going to happen, or is this just partisan politics? And if they determine that it's partisan politics, then they really are going to tune out and feel that this is part of Washington's perennial dysfunction. If there is sort of the smoking gun or that other shoe drops, then you could see a very drastic turn in the political behavior of the American public.
Selena, the IRS scandal and with the investigation that Mr. Holder is conducting at the Department of Justice about his own decision to criminalize a journalist. We then still have pending questions about Benghazi, but that's behind closed doors. And now, as you evidence, the new questions about the State Department, that all adds up to a series of fires. They're, at different parts of the forest. But now we have Mr. Snowden landing on the White House, and I thought this was an opportunity to look presidential. I thought the president could come out and engage everyone by saying, Snowden did this, Snowden must answer for the assertions he's making. This is the conduct of the President of the United States. Instead, I was surprised today with Mr. Carney saying that he wasn't going to comment on Mr. Snowden. So, a turn of the screw on you, Selena. Is the White House overwhelmed? Are they just sinking under the number of questions they can't answer? Do you get a sense that Carney's exhausted?
Well, whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter because that's what they're projecting. They're projecting a sort of an exasperation with dealing with each scandal as it rolls out. And when you do that, you sort of I don't know, wear your feelings on your sleeve. Is that what that old saying used to be? Where they're just coming across as sort of overwhelmed and unable to or unwilling to answer these questions. And while a lot of people are sort of saying, well, this is, partisan politics. I mean, there's some people saying that, right? But I don't think that this is not sort of like what happened with Clinton with the Monica Lewinsky thing. These are just numerous scandals that are unfolding that show a pattern of behavior within this administration that is becoming increasingly troubling among the electorate. Now, I know there was a Pew Washington Post poll that came out today that didn't show a lot of shock and awe over the NSA data mining. I give that about 2 weeks, and I think that you will see the real impact about how people really feel about this.
Right. They haven't exactly told us what they're going to do with Mr. Snowden and what was stolen, and if any compromise is damaging to the NSA, and what the heck he's doing in China. Did you hear an explanation today on that one?
Well, no.
What's he in China for?
Well, he's in China, and talk about a country that sort of watches every move that you make. I mean, you can't go, to a public bathroom without China knowing that. And all of a sudden, the news now is that he's disappeared. You don't disappear in China. People know where you are in China. So this is all kind of sort of very dodgy, and it'll be really interesting to see what the next chapter of this is. Laura,
it's okay that the public's exhausted, but there's the media to continue, which is what we're doing right now. Are we exhausted? Are we overwhelmed? I'm reading headlines. My Twitter feed, if I don't flip it, it builds up to 2,500, and I just cover the professionals. Are we getting a sense of been out here too long, we need a rest?
Well, I certainly think there's an accumulation of scandals. I tweeted out today that this sure feels like the Ulysses S. Grant administration, that sense that the president is sort of out of it, and there's just this one breaking scandal after another that causes, a tremendous amount of problems for essentially the party in charge. And that's really where I see this from a historical analogy and the sense that the president is not on top of this. I think that is some of what is the worst part about this is this feeling like government is just careening out of control,
right,
and the elected officials have no control of it.
And healthcare is coming. Healthcare is coming, which is the biggest operation of all. But I want to go inside what you just said. Grant, you're talking about the second administration when things went completely, everybody lost confidence in the old general. They liked him, but they no longer believed that he was in charge, and he pretty much shrugged it off. And then there was the midterms of 74, as I recall, and the Democrats won a great deal of attention for themselves. The Republicans right now are conducting themselves as passively as the White House. Is that purposeful, Lara? How do you read them?
Well, I think one of the things that's hard about this NSA scandal is that what you essentially see is that many of these sort of operations or practices were developed under the Bush administration.
Right.
Republicans supported them and defended them, and when sort of the shoe was on the other foot, they were on the other side of this question. So one of the things that's bizarre about the NSA scandal is you see that it's not a clear partisan split. It's much more that libertarians and civil liberties people are concerned about this in both administrations, Bush and Obama. Those who tend to be more concerned about the security state and the war on terrorism feel that it's fine. So I think there's sort of not a clear partisan divide on this, and that's really what is, I think, driving the confusion or the passivity among Republicans as well as among some Democrats.
Lara Brown, who blogs at the U.S. News and World Report, and Selena Zito, the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. You need a scorecard. The State Department investigation just underway. Snowden, ? I'm John Batchelor.